I mean, all you've talked about is Muslims. So when you say British values,
yes,
you don't mean freedom of religion.
No. Anyone can.
You don't
have
mean
freedom
of
religion.
worship. You don't mean freedom of expression.
Absolutely fine.
And you don't mean democracy, because Sadiq Khan, of course, is the elected mayor of London 3 times.
Wow. Just when you think Nigel Farage couldn't be embarrassed any further after that brutal takedown by Jamie Raskin in Congress, along comes this clip. An absolute gem from James O'Brien. In this exchange, James doesn't just argue, he dismantles a Farage supporter piece by piece, exposing just how shallow and uninformed Reform UK talking points really are. It's a masterclass in fact-checking and holding people accountable for the nonsense they repeat. And honestly, it proves once again that Nigel Farage and his movement are built more on bluster than on actual ideas for leadership or running a country. Before we dive into the full story, comment where you're watching from. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Now, let's roll the clip. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around for James O'Brien's takedown.
James is in Durham. James, what would you like to say?
I'm delighted that he's back, if I'm honest. I think it gives people another option because, quite frankly, looking at Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak, I wouldn't really fancy voting for either of them.
Well, you don't live in Clacton, so you've already had a option in your constituency to vote for Reform.
Correct, yes, but it wasn't with Nigel at the helm. I think.
So what does that change, do you think?
I suppose he gives a bit of the Boris factor. I wasn't a fan of Boris at sort of
then
the
why
late
would you
stages.
why would you want the Boris factor then?
Because he's backing Britain.
Who is?
Nigel.
How?
Nigel. He's putting the British values there first. And
so can you talk? I love that phrase. I like it a lot, actually, James. Can we go through what you think they are?
Yeah. So if I go on holiday to Dubai.
No, I want British values, not theoretical holidays. That. So what are British values?
But this is what I'm about to say. If you let me finish.
Of course.
If I go to Dubai, I respect Muslim laws. I will fully respect it. You don't drink in public. You're not allowed to walk around with your top off if you go through the hotel lobby. But I find it funny that you're getting a lot of people that are coming over here who don't want to follow the British values of respect, looking after the society, looking after your home. They're coming across and wanting to change our rules
so for example,
and how we live. Well, I think Nigel's pretty...
And which rules? Give me an example of a real person trying to change a real rule.
Well, you look at Sadiq Khan. He's implementing a lot of rules that a lot of his Muslim voters are wanting.
Like what?
The one in Sharia law.
Sorry, Sadiq Khan has introduced Sharia law?
No, he would back Sharia law.
Where do you get that claim from, mate?
He said it.
You think Sadiq Khan has said that he wants to introduce Sharia law?
He would back it.
Okay, what do you think?
If that was on the table.
What do you think Sharia law is?
I'm not going to get into that. You know what Sharia law is.
Well, I know that on things like divorces and domestic disputes, some people are happy to have their cleric, if you like, sit in a form of adjudication, but that can't be what you're objecting to. So what is it you think Sadiq Khan has publicly backed that you're troubled by?
No, I'm saying that Sadiq Khan would back Sharia law.
Yes, but what do you mean by the phrase, in that context, what do you mean by the phrase Sharia law? Because if you're saying that he would back something, I don't know, like chopping people's arms off for shoplifting, then you'd have to be able to provide some evidence, wouldn't you?
But okay, we'll go back a stage.
No, let's just pick off. Let's just deal with one bit of the conversation at a time. The claim that Sadiq Khan. I mean, all you've talked about is Muslims. So when you say British values,
yes,
you don't mean freedom of religion.
No. Anyone can.
You don't mean freedom
of
worship. You don't mean freedom of expression.
Absolutely fine.
And you don't mean democracy, because Sadiq Khan, of course, is the elected mayor of London 3 times.
Which
so what are the British values?
Very odd in my opinion.
Well, of course it's odd in your opinion, because your opinions are based on falsehoods and misunderstandings. For example, Sadiq Khan supports Sharia law. So let's just pick up on where that idea took seed in your mind or your memory.
So Sadiq Khan is a Muslim.
Yes.
So, of course, he would want Sharia law because it acts as a code for living that all Muslims should adhere to.
Oh, I see.
Including
So you've got
prayers, fasting, and
so there
donations
is
to the
absolutely no recorded evidence of Sadiq Khan saying what you're saying.
Well, no, he has
But
said...
this is what all Muslims believe.
Yes, but why? This is a Christian country.
But that's freedom of religion then.
But it's not. You can have the right to prayer, but why should we introduce a law?
But no one is
not a
introducing that.
Christianity law
This is
into the UK?
this is the thing that you're going to have to, I guess, either stop saying this or provide some proof.
I have. If you want to, I can. If I had the time, I'd find the clip of them.
Take all the time you want.
I'll send that clip in.
No, stay on the. Don't go now. So just tell me when it was, what he said, what, and what you think he meant by Sharia law, and what it is you're scared of.
I'm scared at the fact that we are talking about introducing a Muslim law.
No,
Christian
James,
country.
only you were talking about that.
No, I mentioned
I
it.
have Sadiq Khan on this programme every month for the last God knows how many years, and he's never once mentioned this. You've been on for 2 minutes, and you can't shut up about it. So where on earth are you getting
No, you're
this
the
evidence
one who's
from?
spinning this now.
Mate, everyone,
I
just need to warn you that everyone can hear you.
Absolutely.
Right. So where is your proof, or where did you get the idea that... I mean, it's supposed to be a conversation about Nigel Farage representing British values.
Yes, and that's what I was getting onto. So when you asking me about...
Well, no,
British
we can't get onto that yet, because we just need to establish when and where Sadiq Khan spoke out. I mean, he's been mayor of London for years. Why hasn't he introduced it?
Because I imagine he would have very great troubles introducing it.
Well, that would be one answer to the question. The more obvious one is that he's got absolutely no desire to do so whatsoever, which is the point at which you proved to me that he does.
It was a post that was going around social media, which had a quote alongside of Sadiq Khan saying that he quoted that they are trialling the law in 3 of London's boroughs right now.
Yeah,
and they will roll it out in the remaining 30 years.
What research did you do into that social media post?
It was on the Daily Mail.
No, but what checks did you do on it?
Well, how can you check something when?
Right, do you want me to show you?
Okay, you go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question, which I promise you isn't patronising. But do you know what Reuters is?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so an internationally respected news organisation.
Yep.
So while I've never heard this claim about Sadiq Khan before. I'm 99.999% confident that it's complete rollicks, right? And the only time I ever hear things like this is when people tell me that Nigel Farage defends British values, and I push them for some proof. I push for some proof or some evidence or some explanation. And you tell me that, for example, Sadiq Khan, I don't know what this has got to do with Nigel Farage, but hang on, because I'm just teaching you how to do fact checks. All right? So you tell me that the Mayor of London wants Sharia law to be imposed in London, and you mention a social media meme or quote, and I can find while talking to you, this isn't the BBC, I've done it all myself while talking to you. In fact, people watching on YouTube will be able to watch the process of me just simply Googling a few of the words you've said in this conversation. And up pops Reuters from July the 1st, 2020, saying, fact check, the Mayor of London did not say Sharia law is being imposed in London. Let me read some of it to you. Social media users are sharing a quote attributed to the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, implying that Sharia law is being implemented in London. This claim is false. The Mayor of London's press office has confirmed that the quote, which misspells Sharia, is fabricated. Posts showing the quote alongside a picture of Khan have hundreds of shares on Facebook, including you, I imagine, right? The quote attributed to Khan reads, "We are trialling Sharia law in 3 of London's boroughs right now. We will then roll it out in the remaining 30 next year."
Correct.
I mean, it's illiterate, James.
What? So you're saying that on Reuters that I was proved to be wrong?
And it's false.
Okay, well, I'll do what politicians can't do and accept that.
But look how much you've built on it.
But equally, that still doesn't change my opinion of that. When you're asking me about the British values, there still is a lot of talk about Sharia law.
Right. Well, there's a lot of talk about, I don't know, anti-vax rhetoric.
Correct.
There's a lot of talk about lots of things. That's freedom of speech, isn't it?
It is freedom of speech.
But you're not opposed to freedom of speech because you're in favour of British values.
Absolutely.
But not all speech should be free.
No, there's a difference. Freedom of speech seems to be one-sided, very one-sided.
Okay, so who doesn't have freedom of speech then?
I'd probably say the white working class man.
What do you want to say that you can't say? You can say it to me, I promise. I'll protect you.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, how do you know that I'm white? You've just assumed that there.
Okay, are you?
I am, yes. But
okay. Well, let's carry on then. What's the thing you can't say that you wish you could?
No, what I'm saying is, when you're on about British values.
No, that was you. I'm waiting for you to tell me what they are. I'm not going on about them.
No, but you were asking me, and then you're saying in terms of how it's not sort of getting out there and freedom of speech. Well, how come? And I'm not a Tommy Robinson fan, but the media was reporting that there was only.
Why aren't you a Tommy Robinson fan?
I mean, I agree with some of his points, but the way that he goes about it, it probably doesn't help.
What points do you agree with?
That we're losing societies.
But we've just established that your main reason for being fearful of Islam is completely false.
I never said that was my main concern.
What's your main concern then?
My main concern is that we, as working class British citizens, are losing a lot of our.
Lots of working class British citizens are Muslim.
And I haven't said anything against that. You're spinning words.
I'm not.
It's a bit like when Donald Trump
I'm just saying, how can you be talking about Muslims and working class British people as if they're different? As if they're different.
I'm not.
Right. So what is the stuff you agree with Tommy Robinson about then? And I do want you to say the stuff you feel that white working class people aren't allowed to say. What sort of thing are we talking about here?
So I'll go back to earlier what you were saying about the boats coming across and what Nigel Farage has been saying.
No, I want you to tell me what you think you can't say.
I'm leading on to that. If you'd let me finish. So,
it's 11:33. I do want to talk to you for a bit longer, but just move on to it as quickly as you can, James.
No, absolutely. So,
thank you.
Tommy Robinson, he's obviously up there agreeing that we're allowing too many illegal immigrants into the country. We're allowing an army of men to come across.
Right.
There's no women
and who's not allowed to say that then?
People get branded different things if you say that.
You're always going to get branded something. I get branded lefty, loony, liberal. I mean, I think they showed a picture of me at Tommy Robinson's rally and encouraged everybody to boo. If you say stuff in public, James, then people say stuff back to you. But you were telling me about the things. You were telling me about the things that you're not allowed to say. You weren't telling me about being branded.
Yeah, you're not allowed to say that we're having too many people come across.
But you just did.
Yeah, exactly.
So how can you not be allowed to say the thing that you just said?
Because then you're shamed for it, saying, oh, well, we need to help them out.
Mate, the Conservative Party, the Labour Party and the Reform Party are all saying that there are too many people coming into this country from overseas. So what is it that you feel...
But the Conservatives and Labour won't do anything about it.
No, but we're talking about them not being allowed to say it. I just want to get to the bottom. In the same way your claim about Sadiq Khan and Sharia law, we got to the bottom of that, didn't we?
We did.
And it was complete crap, wasn't it?
Well, yes.
So now let's try now to get to the bottom of the idea that you're not allowed to say there are too many people coming here.
Because you have the left media who are saying, but we need to welcome them in.
Yeah, but that's freedom of speech as well. So you're allowed to say there's too many, and other people are allowed to say, no, there's not. Just nail me where that problem is for you personally.
We're spending £6 million a day on these illegal immigrants. £3 billion a year.
Yes, and what's the bit you're not allowed to say?
They're coming across.
Yes.
They're getting mobile phones. They're put into 5-star hotels.
Well, let's look at that then. Let's look at the 5-star. Should we look at the 5-star hotel thing then?
They're in 5 stars.
No, let's look at that. Let's look at
stars.
that. Let's look at the 5-star hotel. The illegal immigrants in 5-star hotels. Where are they? And no, let's go back again, actually. Where did you hear that?
The news.
You heard it on the news. Which news?
Yes. Various outlets.
Okay, and where are the hotels?
You've got the one which is barricaded down. Is it in Plymouth?
Mate, you don't barricade 5-star hotels. They cost about £400 a night. What would all the other guests say? That can't be a 5-star hotel, can it?
The government are booking up whole hotels. This is the thing. The barricaded by the police because of protesters.
But they cease to be hotels when they become asylum centres. They used to be hotels. It's just a name that's given to a building. But I want to focus on the 5-star bit. So can you name a 5-star hotel where illegal immigrants are accommodated?
Yeah, let's have a look, shall we?
Yeah.
If that's the case. So, news article here: thousands of asylum seekers and channel migrants are living in 4- and 5-star luxury at British taxpayers' expense.
Where's that?
One of the 4 hotels used to be a house.
Where is the article?
This is on The Sun.
And where? Just finish that sentence there. One of the hotels used to be.
One of the high-end, rated in the top brackets, detonating class, and some high-end resorts nationwide are booked for months.
Yes.
Home Office officials are sitting refreshing.
So the 5-star hotel we're looking for.
So we've got a 4-star hotel, which is.
And you think that is still a 4-star hotel? That is literally taking guests alongside asylum seekers?
No, because the government.
So it's not a 4-star hotel anymore. If you stayed there, you'd be sharing a room. You'd be told what meals you were having. You wouldn't have access to the facilities that were put in place for guests because most of them would have been closed. It's a bit like, what's the nearest hotel to you, where you are now, James, in Durham? What's it like?
That's probably the Premier Inn is probably the closest.
Okay, well, I was in a Premier Inn at the weekend. So imagine that we took over that Premier Inn tonight and we turned all the rooms into dormitories. We put 2 sets of bunk beds in every room. We got rid of the menu and decided what we'd be serving up every morning and every evening. You'd have a very limited amount of choice, if you like, to what food was available. You certainly wouldn't be able to avail yourself of the bar facilities or anything like that. But the building in which this was happening used to be the Premier Inn. We'd maybe even leave the sign outside that says Premier Inn. Would you describe the people staying there in those bunk beds as staying in the Premier Inn?
Yes.
Oh, well, then you've got me bang to rights, because it's no longer the Premier Inn, according to all of the definitions that gave it that title, in any way, in exactly the same way that building over there that was once a 5-star hotel and is now an asylum centre is not a 5-star hotel anymore. Do you see that?
Well, okay, so let me flip it round to you. So say you book every single room in the Premier Inn.
Yeah.
Just for you. Is it still a hotel?
Yes.
Exactly. So what's the difference from the government fully block booking a hotel and then the housing?
Because the hotel that I'm staying in is the same as it was last year. It hasn't been turned into an asylum processing centre. We're going to run out of time, and the hotel you've just described costs £48 a night, I'm told. So it's not exactly... It's
probably a lot cheaper than what the government's paying.
Yeah, maybe. So the question then becomes, if you know that the stuff about Sharia law was completely nonsense, you know that there is not a single asylum seeker in this country living in 5-star luxury. They may be, although we failed to find a single one, they may be in a building that used to be a 5-star hotel. And we know that everything you've said about Muslims, essentially, or
I haven't
Sharia...
said any... No, you're spinning that.
Okay, right, scratch that last bit then. Just the stuff, let's concentrate on the stuff about Sadiq Khan and Sharia law, and nothing about Muslims, and the nonsense about the 5-star hotels. Can you tell me in a sentence or two why, when you put the phone down, you're still going to believe what you believed when you rang in?
Yes, because you've seen it on the... Well, I suppose maybe being on the left and in the media might not see it as much. But
we're talking about you. You're going to, because we've established 2 things you believe are not true, and now you're going to put the phone down, and we're going to say goodbye, and you're still going to believe what you believed when you rang in. And I just want, if you could help me out as someone on the left in the media who doesn't know what the real world is like, if you want to put it like that, that might be helpful. Why will you still believe the stuff that you now know isn't true?
Because there's still areas of the United Kingdom that even the police are scared to go to.
What are those areas?
You've asked me in one sentence.
Yeah, but just give me a couple of examples of those areas.
Oldham.
The police are scared to go to Oldham.
No, there's the streets in Oldham. There's streets in Bradford. There's streets in Birmingham that the police.
Why are they scared to go there?
Because they're outnumbered.
By who?
The people that live there.
Well, the police are outnumbered by the people who live everywhere, James. On your street, the police are outnumbered by the people who live there. So who do you mean when you say the police are outnumbered?
But who
are they outnumbered by?
The foreigners that live there.
The foreigners that live there?
Yes.
How do you know they're foreign?
I mean, don't play that. You know they are. It's these areas where they've been swamped. They're not British anymore. They don't follow the British values, and this is the thing.
And we're back to where we started. What were the British values that aren't being followed? And everything you said turned out to be false. But you're going to go away convinced that these tropes, these lies, these racist stereotypes are all true.
So there you have it. A call that dragged on for more than 20 minutes, and every single second exposed exactly what we're dealing with. That caller, James, is the textbook example of a Reform UK supporter, the type who parrots conspiracy nonsense, rants about British values without being able to define them, and ends up chasing fake social media quotes instead of reality. And here's the thing. This isn't just one random caller. This mindset is everywhere right now. These are the same people staging protests outside migrant hotels, painting roundabouts with red crosses, and shouting that they want their country back. It's a movement built not on solutions, but on scapegoating. And who's behind it? Nigel Farage, a political showman who has made a career out of lying, dividing, and exploiting fear. He pulled it off with Brexit, pitting communities against each other, and he's still running the same playbook today. Stir up anger, distract people with culture wars, and while everyone's too busy arguing, he protects the interests of the wealthy and well-connected. His supporters end up voting against their own interests, all because they've been told a story that feels good, but falls apart the second someone like James O'Brien fact-checks it. And for my American viewers, this should feel familiar. It's MAGA, just dressed up in British flags instead of red hats. Farage plays the role of a cut-rate Trump, pumping disinformation into the airwaves faster than anyone can debunk it. And his followers? Too many of them are happy to believe it without ever scratching beneath the surface. That's why this clip is so powerful. It's not just a debate, it's a mirror. It shows us how misinformation warps people into defending nonsense, convinced they're fighting for values when they're really just echoing the words of a demagogue. This call is unforgettable because it perfectly captures the danger of unchecked lies. People buy into it, they repeat it, and before you know it, those lies start shaping national conversations. That's why voices like James O'Brien matter. Because if nobody challenges the script becomes reality. Let me know what you thought of this clash in the comments. Was this caller a one-off, or do you think this mindset is becoming mainstream in British politics? And while you're down there, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so we can keep cutting through the noise together.